like with our knife laws and our firearms laws and things like that. Yeah, it's ridiculous sometimes.
Well, don't you also have to have don't you have to have a permit, a purchase permit for in Nebraska?
To buy from a dealer or your concealed carry permit to purchase a brand new firearm from a dealer though.
Wait, what's the sneak attack live shit?
That's right.
It's the pre-show.
We just wanted to catch you off guard to see how bad.
We're already over our time, so I call it pre-show. But what the hell? I leave for a couple of weeks, and you just kill the show and make it all dumb and just start whenever the hell you feel like it mid-sentence?
Come on, Smeggy. Spit out some crazy lyrics, yo. Do it, man.
Come on, man. Do it. What is my motto?
I don't know. Do everything half-assed?
No. With the new song, Smeg. My hit or miss motto is "fuck it, we'll do this live."
Come on, Smeggy, do some improv.
But do at least normally say it. And I don't like being put under pressure of now I got to start doing the thing right now.
You don't have to. We haven't done it in 3 weeks. What's the
first thing I was going to hear is fucking Travis saying some stupid shit in mid-fucking sentence. Not how the show works.
Oh.
How can talking about how ridiculous our gun laws are be considered stupid caca? I mean, seriously, dude.
Because it's not important. The first things anyone should hear on every hit or miss when they're like, oh, I wonder what this show's about. They should hear me doing my thing.
Yeah, well, direct that to customer service,
aka Night Strike, because he's going fucking rogue. I understand. I'm sorry that I have a life and I worked fucking 89 hours last week or whatever the hell it was. It was fucking nuts, insane. But you don't get to just fucking go rogue and do whatever the hell you want.
I've been doing that for 3 weeks so far. Why ruin it?
I know you're like a kid that fucking his parents went away on vacation for a couple of weeks or whatever, and then when they come back, the kid all of a sudden is like, "Well, I don't have a curfew and I can do whatever the hell I want. I can eat ice cream for dinner." No, put the ice cream away and eat your fucking vegetables.
Shh, take a deep breath, Maggie. You're with friends. You're with friends.
No, I'm not with friends because I'm with people that fucking start the shit up when I'm not even ready. And it's just so unprofessional.
For tantrums lasting longer than 4 hours, please seek medical attention right away.
That is perfect.
Take a Smegra. Smegagra. There you go.
So,
a little white pill.
I feel better. Jonas, the one who strikes at the night.
Oh, not you too.
That was Smeggy. That was a good jam there, Smeggy. That's a good one.
Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt.
There we go.
Smeggy, one more Jonas from you, and you won't have to worry about being on hit or miss.
Oh, Daddy lays.
Okay, I will have you know that is probably the first, maybe second time I've ever called you that. Just so you know, because I don't call you that. So other people might pick on you or whatever. I don't. I just thought that was a great little side note. Because honestly, I liked more the part of the one who strikes in the night. You're the badass of that story. That story was awesome.
You were the hero.
One story where I went and just used the IO Inc. AK, and that was just that one story. But Smegs, what you weren't picking up on was I was giving the whole being angry to be angry like you were earlier. I was just turning that back on you.
I would say that Night Strike was kind of mean to me earlier today too.
Well, I'm mean to everyone.
Made me feel bad.
Well,
made
I don't
me
know
feel
why
bad
we all
about myself.
snowflakes now.
Well, Night Strike is killing everybody in one story right now. So
I know Night Strike could have been
worse.
Hell,
man? I'm a nice person. I don't kill anybody that doesn't deserve it.
Night Strike, I'm doing you a goddamn favor, man. I mean, that's if that is you. We don't even know yet. That's unsubstantiated. You don't know. That might not be.
It could be Monica Lewinsky, man. She's back.
It could be. It could be. You better hope it's.
Did she come back for her blue dress?
She might. Hope it's you. She never took it off.
That's true. That could be it.
All right. Anyways, welcome all to Hit or Miss. I'm Night Strike, and thank you, Smeggy, for his rant and for his musical inclinations.
Intro music.
Yes, his musical intro music. I think we may have to record some of it while he's away, so I don't have to just go right into the show. So Smeggy, we have to record a couple of those. Just I'll introduce my panel tonight. So I'm going to go through the order that's on my screen. At least that I'm pretty far before. So welcome, Cycle Camp.
Hi there, Cycle Camp 1 at on YouTube.com for some gun videos and stuff. And thanks for inviting me in.
No problem, anytime. And then we've got Dog Buddy. How's it going, Dog Buddy?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me. New videos at Dog Body Official every Thursday.
Yeah, long time no see. What was it? Last night? And then we got Midnight TM. What's going on?
Hey, buddy. Thanks for the invite, even though you said it was by accident.
you know, when I said that, I was saying that jokingly.
I don't know, man. My heart is aching right now.
No, I did not send that jokingly. I sent it on purpose because I figured you out of everyone here would actually show up.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm at work, so what the hell else am I going to do?
Yeah, right. I don't know. Maybe work. Heaven forbid.
We're just cleaning up now, so I can squawk a little bit, Yeah.
And then we got Smeggy. Smeggy, thank you for showing up this week. I know.
Yeah, man. Good to be here. How's everyone doing today? Sorry, yes, I have been away. I have been super busy, and that's just kind of what July is like when you work in the automotive industry. It's pretty much I just throw the month of July away and be like, I'm not going to see no one. I'm not going to talk to anyone. I'm not going to do anything. And if I get to hang out with friends and do stuff, then it's a bonus.
Yeah.
But this is our busiest time of the year.
And then next up, way past his bedtime, we've got Tony.
Hey. Good evening, people. You're right. It's way the hell past my bedtime, but the lady ain't ready to get laid yet, so.
Whoa.
Oh, no. Lawrence Welk doesn't come on till 8:30.
There you go.
Lawrence Welk doesn't come on till
Tony's up drinking.
That's good stuff, man. That's
Tony's
good
up
stuff.
drinking Four Loko. He's ready to rock and roll.
Oh, God. Poor Loco.
All right.
No, he's got some Zima. He's reliving the 90s.
Oh, man. We were just talking about that shit last week.
Yep.
They brought that back.
30 minutes time on Viagra.
I know. I've got some in the fridge upstairs. I'll never admit to it, though, because men don't drink that. But,
Travis, I don't think teachers should have Zima. That's a little bit conspicuous.
School's out for the summer. School's out forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
never said it was mine.
All right, hold on. All right, guys, pause.
That sounds like I once. Yeah, I missed this so much. Yay, that sounds like I once.
All right, so Too Hottie, what's going on in your state?
I don't even fucking know. I hope you can get this train back on the rails, Jonas. Otherwise, it's going to be a fucking miss, dude.
Well, I'm used to it being a miss. That's why it's called hit or miss. So, and last but not least.
No, this week's going to be a hit. Don't have confidence. This week will be a hit.
We have Travis P11.
It's going to be a hit because I'm here. Bow down. I'm just kidding. Yeah, guys, this is Travis P11, man. Check me out over on YouTube at my station, my channel, Travis P11, and on gunchannels.com.
Hey, it's going to be a hit because I'm here and I'm not fucking.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
Hey, you know what? It's going to be a good week because last night Yankee gave a werewolf a hand job.
Oh, my God.
So it can't be a bad week, right?
Before he got killed by said werewolf.
And pissed on. Yeah. That's pretty rough. That's a rough way to go.
Well, it's rough just the way Yankee likes it, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure he'll take what he can get.
Oh, God.
And if he hears this, he's gonna give me shit for it. But you know what? It's
well, that's because a werewolf is big and hairy and smelly, just like Yankee. So it works out fine.
Dude, he's gonna ban my ass.
Well, remember in Rockhopper's story, Yankee was the traitor, so Yankee gets what he deserves.
That's true. I guess he did get it. Yeah.
Selling out the entire group for a box of Chiappa Rhinos.
Oh, he's pissed off at Chiappa right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Them and Who else?
Bond
Somebody else.
Arms.
Bond Arms, yeah, because
that's
right.
they keep promising him a bullpup and they never delivered. Yeah.
Yeah. And both companies have promised him guns that he offered to pay for, and they haven't sent.
I mean, do these companies not pay attention to popular media and social media and who is pushing their product? They obviously have an awful PR department because they're missing out big time.
Well, I know they had so much contact with him. It seems like before to just kind of drop off the face of the earth like that is really pretty shitty.
Well, I think I know what it is. They thought they had gotten a hold of Hickok 45, but they went and checked, and it turned out to be the Yankee Marshals, so they, don't care as much.
Or they just actually listened to a show once.
There's that, too.
I thought you were going to say they just thought James Yeager was older in person.
I mean, maybe they lost him at Toothless Midgets. I don't know. I don't know why the company wouldn't want to sponsor a dude like that. But
from what Yankee said, because he has seen and met Yeager in real life, Yeager is shorter than Yankee. And
well, Yankee's pretty tall. He's over 6 foot, right?
Yeah.
Or is he just full of shit when he says that?
I don't know. He
might be wearing high heels. So I don't know.
He might be late. All right. So we got a couple of stories I wanted to go over tonight. I think what we're going to start with is...
I have news. Can we start with my news?
Which one is yours?
Okay. It is... Oh, hang on a second here. Let me figure out which one is me. Must be this one. Okay. Now we do this. Now we do this.
We see your ceiling. We see your garage.
Do you see a F-150 in the garage?
So you got a truck.
With a Gun Channels decal in the back?
Aha! I see the Gun Channels decal.
So, anyone listening, if you're cruising around the Detroit area, you see a Gun Channels thing, come talk to me. Because I'm a whore for meeting new people.
Okay, so, cool. So that was your news.
That was my news. Yeah, sorry, I'm about to run to the store, so I figured I'd show off the truck when I had a chance. Because I'm super excited about it. I picked it up yesterday, so I've now owned it for like 26 hours or 27 hours or something like that. So it's still super brand new to me.
Now does it have 4-wheel drive, or is it just?
No, it's 4-wheel. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's the super cab, so it's got the suicide doors, not like the full 4 doors. It's got the 6.5-foot bed, 4-wheel drive. It's got the towing package.
All right.
Fucking heated seats. It's the V6 EcoBoost or whatever. But it's got plenty of pickup. So
I
people are like, oh,
there just went and said, approach the vehicle slowly though. Otherwise, he might get.
Yes.
He might
do not run up to the car and then hit it. Apparently, that's very startling.
Hey, can I get an autograph?
All right. So tonight, thank you for that, Smuggy. That is an awesome decal. I need to get one of those stickers myself. But tonight we're going to go on. I don't know if anyone's seen this, but I wanted to talk about it because I found it hilarious. So everyone, has everyone heard of the smart gun, the Armadix IP1?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was a company that thought they could stop gun violence. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, and the guy.
That's a great story.
That did this. Basically, okay, so there's a company. I think they're Germany. They're a German company.
Yeah.
And they make a smart gun, and what happened was a guy went. He goes when there's new technology out. He goes and tries to see if he can hack it, crack it, that kind of thing. And he went over and looked at it, and he figured out that one, he can copy the signal because there's a watch you use, and it has a radio signal that goes to the gun. The gun receives the radio signal, and then fires when you pull the trigger. But here's the thing. He went and found out a way to completely make the gun completely inert by jamming the radio signal on the specific wavelength. So, another reason why not to get a smart gun. But the very best out of this story is the factor that he was able, with $15 worth of magnets, to make this thing work without the smart gun part.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, he hacked it in 3 different ways.
He hacked it digitally and then analog.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying he did one where he intercepted the signal from the watch and then transmitted that further so that you could use the gun. I think he said it was 10 feet away from the watch or whatever. So that was just kind of okay, I guess that proved if you knew exactly what signal you were supposed to have, then you could, replicate it, and probably you could make your own watch or whatever, right? And then send it. The second way was just a general, radio jamming kind of thing, where he sent out towards the gun and the watch, everything in that wavelength, whatever that range is, just overloaded it so that it just completely did not work at all. And that's the quote that I want to find exactly what the manufacturer said, because that's the part that was crazy. I want to rant about a little bit. And then, now this third part where he technically did the safety and was able to fire.
Basically,
that there were 3 different ways that he defeated it.
Yeah, 3 different ways. And he has informed the manufacturer of these vulnerabilities to the smart gun. And their response was, well, for 2 of those, we're not really concerned about because of the amount of time it would take to go and crack those and hack those in the first place. So we're not really too concerned about those vulnerabilities, is what they said. And they didn't comment on the magnet thing, but, I would say that magnet method, $15 worth of parts as opposed to, spending a couple hundred to try and figure out what the radio frequency is, people would go for $15 worth of magnet parts. And all you do is hold the magnet where the magnet, which is supposed to, in the slide, there's an electromagnet, which is supposed to prevent the firing pin block from moving, and when you pull the trigger and try and fire the gun. And if you had the watch on, the magnet would turn on, and it would allow you to use the gun.
Not exactly a lawgiver, is it?
No, it's not. It's not a lawgiver.
Can I just go on record saying that I believe that smart gun technology is the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard?
Well, that's because the smart gun technology that they're trying to push down our throats isn't actual smart gun technology because, like with cell phones, if you're going to call it a smartphone, it has to add to the functionality of something and actually be beneficial, as opposed to the smart gun thing where they're trying to ram it down our throats. And they're not actually adding any functions. They're trying to take away the functionality and use of the device itself. So they're going at it from the backwards motion instead of going forwards.
I've said it once, and I'll say it again. When they can invent a smart hammer, then they can come back to working on the gun. Until then, leave the damn gun alone.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just figured I'd mention it because, if any of you go, if you're just minding your own business, you find an Armadix, IP1, just go get a $15 worth of magnets, and you can use the damn thing. There you go. All right. So what else? What else is going on? What else did I want to mention?
The thing in DC.
Well,
yeah, that's good news.
I haven't gotten to that one yet, but if you guys want to cover that, okay, let's cover that one first.
Hang on, are we off the smart gun already? Jeez, man, I was inside for 2 seconds.
Well, it's a smart gun.
Well, it turned out to be stupid.
Smart guns trigger me, so leave it go.
Right, but no, there's something that the dude said when they responded to like, "Hey, I made this fail all these ways."
Yeah, they said, Smeggy, they said that they weren't concerned with the vulnerabilities because it would cost too much for someone.
Well, they weren't concerned with vulnerabilities because they carry a regular fucking gun.
Yeah. Well,
okay,
no, it's
so
hard to do.
Anyways, on the one where he was saying, like, the manufacturer said, well, you know, we're not too concerned about it because it failed in a safe way because it didn't allow the gun to fire. And that was the part that I really want to kind of rant about, was that you obviously don't understand what a lot of people use guns for. If a gun doesn't work when you want it to, that's not a safe thing. If you're using it for self-defense, that's the absolute most unsafe thing if it doesn't work when you want it to. And so that just shows he doesn't think about that at all.
I would never use a smart gun to defend my life in the first place.
Well, no, but if fucking New Jersey and all the rest of them get their way, and it's like, oh, okay, these things are sold now, that's all you're allowed to buy, you're going to have to use the smart gun to defend your life. I mean, if they get rid of everything else, I'm talking in the future, but...
Yeah, if they get their way and we don't rise up as, you know, as individuals or as a group to say no, then we fucking deserve it in the first place. You know.
Does anybody else remember the smart gun tests in the 90s? Where they had a company that tried to do, they had three methods. One was a RFEI chip thing. The other one was a thumbprint or a fingerprint scanner. And the other one is kind of like the current ones where you have a watch device that's supposed to make the gun work.
It uses radio.
And when they tested it, they determined that in every single scenario, an attacker with a knife starting at 40 feet away was able to kill someone every time before that person could get that gun's mechanics to work properly. Ooh. And what you're telling me now, with the current smartphone technology, almost 30 years later, is they haven't improved one bit.
Well, Remington proved back in the early 80s or the late 70s that electronics and recoil do not work well together.
They don't belong together.
Yeah.
The only thing electronic in a gun that has worked out well has worked out in some of the military machine guns where they figured out electro-ignition primers. That's the only thing that they've done that's worked out well with that.
That's what Remington was working on back in the late 70s, early 80s, was electronic ignition.
Yeah.
And they couldn't make it hold together, so they gave up.
Yeah, I was watching a video on that rifle. I can't remember what it was called. It was pretty interesting to look at, though, as a piece.
What they were hoping to accomplish would have been nice had it worked out, because, you know, that absolute control of the trigger pull, because it's not got anything to do with springs or anything, was an appealing idea. It just wouldn't work.
All right. Have we killed this one with fire? Are we ready to move on?
Yeah, I think so.
Smeggy, how do you feel?
I'm good. Like I said, I really wanted to get to that quote on the whole, it failed in a safe way because it doesn't fire. And I'm like, oh, that's not how it works.
That's not how it works at all. Oh.
That's not how any of this works.
Exactly. All right. So, in other news, apparently the first shipment of the SIG XM17 pistols, that's the P320 modular handgun system, they've decided where they're going to go to. They're going to Fort Campbell in Kentucky, and they're going to the 101st Airborne Division.
So this is more important on the list than a Second Amendment win in D.C.
No, I'm mentioning it in passing as we get to it.
Oh, neato. Guns go somewhere.
Anyway, well, they're going to the right people. That's the thing. You know, they're not criminals or anything. So, what's going on in D.C., guys? You guys want to talk about it, so bring it to the table.
Evidently, the appeals court there said that the whole good reason is horseshit for CCW.
Aha.
3-judge panel.
Which judges? Do we know which judges said that?
I really didn't see anything but the headline, man. I haven't checked.
It was a 2-1 decision, and 2 of the guys were involved in one of the other good gun decisions, and one was the gal that always says no, Harrison or Harrington or something like that.
Which court was this?
This was the Circuit Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia.
Okay.
So that's something I think Dan was like, oh, you think that means it works for the whole country or whatever? It's like, no, it's their version of the state, like, you know, appeals court in the state, right? So it's not at the federal.
No, that's not true. It is the federal court. It's the Federal Appeals Court for the DC, which is the only federal appeals court that only covers one district.
So it's like the equivalent of a District 9 or a District whatever.
Right. It's like the Fourth Circuit or the Ninth Circuit. No, this is not the state court. This is the federal court.
It is federal precedent.
But it was only a 3-judge panel.
You guys want to give me a second? I'll read this little blurb. DC Appeals Court strikes down good reason CCW law. The Second Amendment Foundation today won a significant court victory against good reason requirements for concealed carry when a U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia issued a permanent injunction against enforcement of such a requirement in Washington, D.C. The 2-1 ruling written by Judge Thomas Beale Griffith, a 2005 George W. Bush appointee, declared that at the Second Amendment's core lies the right of responsible citizens to carry firearms for personal self-defense beyond the home, subject to long-standing restrictions. The district's is necessarily a total ban on exercises of that constitutional right for most DC residents.
So
that's enough to sink this law under the 2008 Supreme Courts, and then my blurb gets cut off.
They actually did write in the statement that the right to concealed carry extends beyond the home.
Right, that's what Heller said, so they just repeated that. So that's cool. So if that counts as a regular, like, you know, federal circuit or whatever, then this is a very good candidate to go all the way up to the Supreme Court, because you have like the Ninth Circuit that says, well, yeah, you are allowed to have May issue. And now this is another court at the same level saying you're not allowed to have May issue. That's normally when the Supreme Court steps in, when 2 of the appeals level disagree. They step in and say, no, this is the way it works. So hopefully it gets up to the Supreme Court and it's found pro-gun, and then every state would have to follow it.
Right.
Well, the precedent that it sets is they could still have May issue. They just can't use the good reason clause as.
Right, but that's really the only thing that stops May issue from shall issue, is they decide you don't have a good enough reason.
Well, not really. You can have an anti-gun chief of police that just won't sign off on them, regardless.
But he doesn't have an excuse not to, though. I mean, you might be right, but I think the biggest difference between shall and may is when you have to explain why you have a good reason. Then they decide, okay, yes, you do have a good reason, or no, you don't have a good reason. Without that, I think they look at the same thing. And just make sure you're not a bad guy and whatnot, and then they give it to you.
I need to look up the court decision, McDonald or whatever the hell it was, that caused Illinois to get concealed carry, because it must have been written in that decision that Illinois had to go shall issue, because I can't see how in the hell we would have got shall issue if may issue was an option here.
Right. Yeah, when they didn't even want it in the first place, they would probably should have went as most restrictive as possible from their point of view.
Right. Absolutely.
The other interesting thing about the case.
McDonald's exactly, but I thought the base of McDonald's was basically you have to provide some way of people being able to carry outside the home. And that's where even having may issue, like, that counts. Or I think some places, they, like, if they would have just had open carry, it's like, okay, well, you allow open carry, therefore people can carry outside the home. Like,
yeah,
and McDonald's didn't matter either way, but since Illinois was the only one that didn't have concealed carry, they just got concealed carry and said, okay, we comply, we're done.
That's how Pennsylvania is. You can open carry without a permit, but you have to have a permit to, conceal or have it in your car or anything like that. But technically, you can open carry without a permit. Yeah.
I wish I could open carry without a permit.
Me too now.
Open carry is fine. You can do whatever you want. And conceal, you have to have a permit for concealed carry. We are shell issue, which is cool. And then inside your car counts as concealed. That's just how they do it.
Yeah, so, here too.
Yeah, us too. Unless you're going to like a range, gunsmith, or to and from work or something like that, you can't have it in a motorized vehicle.
Oh, well, see, that's even different, though, because, like, I couldn't carry loaded to a range. As soon as I sit down in my car, I need to have a permit. Even if it's in, like, outside the waistband holster. Like, let's say I'm open carrying, and then I sit down inside of my car, I'm now technically concealed carrying, even if you can see it.
Yeah. So. I'm not 100% sure about that, like if you have to have it unloaded, but I don't think you have to have it in a case or anything like that. I know some states you do. You have to have it, like, so far apart, away from you, but Pennsylvania's pretty cool. I mean, we're pretty lucky here.
Here it has to be unloaded in a case unless you have a concealed carry permit. Then you can carry all the loaded freaking handguns you want.
And here in Washington, it's concealed carry with license, open carry without a license, but open carry in a vehicle, the firearm has to be unloaded. So you can still have it on your hip, it just can't be loaded.
But now, if you have a concealed carry permit, can you carry inside your car then? I'm assuming, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay.
I would just wish to hell Illinois would have dragged their feet for another month, because we'd have been constitutional carry then.
Yeah, so yeah, and that's one of the, going back to the car thing, I need to kind of look into it again, because I know in Michigan, like, I'm thinking for rifles now. Like, let's say I'm going up north hunting. I know you can't have loaded rifles. Michigan is very concerned about people, like, poaching from their cars and stuff. So all of their laws that are against rifles and things is to try and stop people poaching and just, driving down the road, seeing a deer, shooting it, throwing it in the back of the truck, taking off. But anyways, so the way it's with rifles, it has to be unloaded, it has to be in a case, and it says it has to be, like, in the trunk. Now, for, like, an SUV, I just put it in the far back, and I'm going, it's out of reach of the driver, like, it should be fine. But now I'm thinking with this truck, if I toss it in my back seat, because I don't necessarily want it sliding around inside the bed of the truck, because I don't have a cover for it, I don't want to get rained on either. Like, I wonder if that's okay. If I can.
I've always had that. I've always had that same quandary, because I drive not the type of truck you have, but the same setup. 4-door. And I don't know if I'm doing it right, but whenever I travel with a rifle, it's in the case and it's sitting across the folded down back seats. So, because I'm not throwing it in the bed of the truck.
According to the law here, it has to be out of immediate reach of the driver.
So, Smeggy, do your back seats fold down and have a little storage area behind them?
They fold up, and then you can, like, put stuff on the floor underneath them.
All right, I know it might
even enough room. Like, I was looking at that. I can look back at it again. Like, I don't know if I could fold the seat up, put it in there, and then put the seat back down. Then I'd be covered, I think, because it's not easily accessible.
But do your backrests fold down? Do your backrests fold down?
No, just the seat part folds up.
Okay, because when I was in California, I used to
Where's
be able
your-
to keep a rifle or a shotgun behind my seats, and that
Now
counted as
here-
out of reach of the driver.
Here in Illinois, it's kind of odd because our state law says that we can have a loaded rifle or shotgun in the vehicle if it's out of reach of the driver. But the Department of Natural Resources says that it has to be unloaded and in a case. And the cops can bust you either way on that. But it doesn't have to be out of reach of the driver if it's unloaded in a case.
Smeggy,
What's up?
where is the jack in your new vehicle? Because normally in pickups, your rear seats fold down flat and the jack is behind there.
No,
You know,
you don't
that's,
get a
that's a
decal,
good
Mel.
question. I don't know where the jack is. It might be like underneath the seat. I only lifted up the one. I didn't lift up the other one. Yeah, I really don't know where my jack is.
If you're rolling around Detroit and you see that truck with the gun channels decal on it, you're supposed to run up and jump in it.
You go ahead and try. That's honestly no. You know what? Yeah,
Especially since the driver hasn't renewed his CPL yet.
Okay, first off, you need to shut the fuck up because that's private information that's getting out there. I don't appreciate that. Secondly, I did file the paperwork, so you don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Thirdly, if anyone is listening to this, they're probably good guys. So yeah, I wouldn't mind if you ran up to my truck. I don't want to discourage all the hot ladies that are going to come running and throwing themselves at me. Don't worry, I won't shoot you, ladies.
There ain't no damn girls in here. Don't worry about that.
Well, they all listen to Hit or Miss.
There might be somebody wearing a dress though.
Some neckbeard in a dress is going to come up to Smeggy and be way too friendly.
Jonas.
So the good news is that the circuit court 3-man panel or 3-person panel passed it, but now of course the DC gets the right to petition for en banc, and if that happens, the odds are they're probably, even though they have enough people to pass it, it probably won't get passed, and then they'll just suspend the permanent injunction, and we'll be right back where we started.
Yep.
Which is just exactly what happened in Peruta. In Peruta, he got the 3-man panel to say, nope, you got to give him his permit. And then the state got involved or the town of San Diego got involved and said, no, we want you to hear it en banc, and en banc he lost.
Well, something's got to get this shit before the Supreme Court.
Well, that means that more liberal or left-wing Supreme Court justices need to, die off.
Yeah.
Sad to say.
So technically,
Or just retire, bro. Hang on. You don't got to be so morbid. They can just retire. That's okay.
But the problem is there's never been a Supreme Court justice in the history of the United States that is retired.
Well, I don't know if
Is
that's
that true?
People retire all the time. You're right. They normally wait until they have a favorable president that they know will replace them with a like-minded person. But that doesn't mean that they won't just be like, you know what, I'm really freaking sick of this. And it could be health related, it could be otherwise. But could be any number of reasons why someone would retire. They don't have to die in office. In fact, I think it's kind of rare they actually die in office. They just tend to wait it out and retire when someone's favorable, once their health starts affecting them. Which that one lady's pretty old, so I'm hoping that she just gets tired and is like, I don't feel like doing this anymore, and retires. I don't want her to die. I just want her to not be a Supreme Court anymore.
I don't care how they get out of office as long as they go.
See, this only proves that we need better term limits. Everything should have a term limit. These lifetime positions are bullshit.
Well, I kind of get the idea, the theory behind why they wanted the lifetime for Supreme Court. Because the idea was, once you get that, you're never running for office again. Therefore, you can speak your mind. You can do whatever you want because you're not trying to serve special interest groups or anything, because there's no benefit in serving a special interest group because they can't help you any because you already have the job.
Well, that's the reason you're not supposed to vote for your state senator.
In
And they
theory,
screwed that up.
So why don't we just
yes,
let them
many judge what do you call it? Guys have retired. So that's a fallacy on Night Strike's part. There have been many that have retired. The most recent one was David Souter.
Okay, so there have been many that retired.
2009.
Okay.
I will agree. There's very rare that they've like a liberal's retired when a conservative's been president and vice versa.
Yeah,
I do agree with that. They normally don't, and I don't know if they ever.
Yeah, they time it so that the right kind of guy will get rehired.
And let's be clear: the retirement for a Supreme Judge is they don't need to work as long as they are. Their retirement is more than sufficient. They don't need to stay in office forever. And by the time they get to be a Supreme Judge, they're already pretty much getting ready for retirement. So this whole lifetime office business is bullshit. It keeps them in there for way too long and keeps fresh blood that's more with the times from getting in.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like I think Smeg was saying, I get the idea behind it. It's supposed to end the political aspect of it, but obviously nothing ends the political aspect of anything these days.
I think that any public servant who spends too much time up in there with the other politicians and outside away from the normal populace begins to grow too far away from the people to be able to relate.
Well, the problem is they get disillusioned. They get disillusioned and convinced by these politicians that, you know, they should conduct themselves, you know, like-minded. Whereas, you know, they're not with the normal citizen. They don't understand the plight of the common man.
Exactly.
Or woman.
They're not supposed to understand the plight of the common man or women. They're not supposed to legislate from the bench. They are supposed to follow the Constitution.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that they have to be independent and not subject to voting and the whims of the Senate and the Congress. That's what forms the third leg of our balance of powers.
It's true, but
we should make it a law where they have to read the Constitution like aloud once a week, so they at least would know what's in it.
Right, but I'm just saying the reason that it's set up the way it is because they are supposed to be just constitutional interpreters. That's all their job is, interpret the Constitution. And they're not supposed to have a bias for, well, things have changed and people are different now than they used to be. And so it's not supposed to happen that way.
Yeah, no, it's not. But
I agree, but that's exactly what they're doing. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right. They're legislating from the bench.
I was getting to that point, but you cut me off, Bill.
Good. We got there quicker.
Well,
I'm trying to stretch the show out, damn it.
No, I got G-Webs out here. I'm finally back on my computer.
Uh-oh.
And he's saying that 56 have retired or resigned, and the rest died. There's been 113. So really, like, half of them have retired, half of them died in service. Then he's got this other stat. Historically, the average length of service on the court had been less than 15 years. However, since 1970, the average length of service has been 26. Now, I would say part of that could be the more political atmosphere like you guys were just touching on, where they are kind of changing to, they're doing what they want, not just like whatever the words on the paper say, to quote Obama. But I think also that could contributed to just the fact that healthcare is a lot better since the 70s than before. So if it takes a certain amount of time to work yourself up through the courts and be a good judge for a while, or maybe start as a lawyer and then you get the judge and then you go to a circuit. And then, so the starting age is still about the same nowadays as it was back then, right? You're going to be like 40s to 50s to start. And the fact now that healthcare is so much better, that you can start a job at 40 something, work for 26 years, and still retire. Like you're still alive.
Right. But here's another point, which you touched on with the whole Obama comment. The problem is some of these lawyers that are getting appointed Supreme Court justices, because you have to be a lawyer in order to be a justice, whether it's Supreme Court or regular court. You know, you got to go to law school first. So they're all lawyers. And the problem is a lot of them that get into these positions, whether it's the Supreme Court or other courts, a lot of them are believing in this whole thing where the Constitution is a living document, which we all know it's not. It's supposed to be written in a fucking stone. But the issue is, you know, a lot of them are treating the Second Amendment, as well as most of the Bill of Rights, as if the whole document itself was a living document, which it's not.
Do not have to be a lawyer.
Fake
Absolutely
news.
not.
It's just I would guess that the vast majority of judges start as a lawyer first.
Most of them have served
so
as
do
lower
most-
court justices.
Well, they
Most,
definitely, but to get to the Supreme
politicians
Court,
are fucking lawyers.
yeah, most judges are started as lawyers also, though. I don't know the statistics on it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, can't anyone be nominated Supreme Court? Like, technically, like, anyone can be, just they probably won't get accepted if they've never been a judge before, or they don't know what the hell's going on. But I think the president's allowed to just pick whoever they want. He can pick Joe the plumber if he wants. He just probably won't get confirmed.
Technically speaking, you are correct.
Yeah. So don't let that dream die, Night Strike. You one day could be a Supreme Court
Justice. Yeah.
Oh dear God.
I would like him to be one.
The issue is all the cases I would have. I would just go and I would look at I would look at the Constitution. I look at the case, and if the case doesn't have any bearing on the Constitution, I'm like, rejected, denied.
Well, see, if I was a Supreme Court justice, now we're getting into fantasy time.
Yeah,
I would look at the Constitution for every case that was brought up, except I would only look at the Second Amendment, and that's how I'd make my decision on everything. So if they're like, well, you need to have health care in the state and blah, 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 I'd be like, huh.
Where in the Constitution does it say that?
Let's see what does this have to do with guns? Okay, pro-gun. And I'd be like, you're right, whatever the thing is, like, I'm in favor of the thing, and in the official thing where they're like, blah, healthcare is a right, and blah, 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 I'd tag on there, so is owning a gun, go fuck yourselves, all these states like California and New York. I'll just write that right in there on, like, the byline. Then it'd be official, bam, done, shall not be infringed, means shall not be infringed, NFA is gone, all the other things are gone, screw you, I'm going home.
I'm glad you cleared that up because I wondered where the fuck you was going.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's bring this in a little. We got off on a tangent about the Supreme Court, and wow, this is hit or miss, and we aren't allowed to.
Got another one about Supreme Court though. There's more news.
Oh, God damn it! God damn it! Go for it.
It's a good segue. So the assault weapons ban from something with an M.
Maryland,
thank you, is been officially filed for the Supreme Court. Now, I think they're still on break, so I don't know if they'll take it, and blah, blah, blah. And from what I read, I'm going from memory because I can't find the article real quick. But from what I remember, they're saying it won't get heard for a while, even if it gets picked. Like, it's just one of those things. But either way, it's a good thing. There's another Second Amendment case going up there that hopefully will get, pro 2A votes on.
And they'll do the same thing they did to Peruta. They'll cycle it through the mill 15 times and then not hear it.
Well, I think Maryland is part of the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, is it not?
Well, a big problem is these clerks. These clerks who push the cases, they don't push Second Amendment cases.
The clerks don't have anything to do with it, though.
Clerks don't have anything to do with that.
There's a whole sorry, I might be using the wrong word here, but there's a whole set of individuals who file through these cases and drop them on the desk in order before the judges ever get a chance to look at them. And Second Amendment cases tend to get buried.
That's not true.
Okay.
That's not true. The Supreme Court looks at everyone who petitions for certiorari. The Supreme Court justices meet and decide which ones to first of all, they decide which ones are going on their schedule. Then they decide which ones they're going to talk about, and they'll either table them for a future meeting or decide to grant them certiorari or refuse them. But every one that goes up there for certiorari is reviewed by, it may not be the entire Supreme Court, but there is a panel of Supreme Court justices that makes a recommendation to the main body as to which things ought to be put on the schedule for further debate or not.
And do they look at that in order that they're filed? Like they'll look at petition number 17 before they look at number 18 type of thing?
I can't answer that. That I don't know.
Okay, because I'm just wondering if that's what in that step of that process.
That's what I was talking
about, where the gun ones get shuffled down below some of the other ones.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
So yeah, and you're right. Every Supreme Court does look at it and decide if they want to take it or not. You have to have at least 4 judges say, yes, I want to take it. And then it gets thrown on the schedule whenever they feel like doing it.
Well, I think there might be a little scrutiny on the 2 Second Amendment stuff because Garland seems to be a little bit put out that they did what they did with Peruta.
Yeah, he was pissed they didn't hear Peruta, at least, from his dissent. And that's another thing too. When they decide not to hear a case, sometimes they'll just be like, "Nah, we ain't gonna hear it." Other times they actually write an official, like, this is why we're not hearing it. And then you can also have an official, like, this is why I wish we would have heard it. And that's what they, it was Garland and, what the heck's the guy's name? Clarence or
Thomas?
Clarence? Oh, it's Thomas?
Clarence Thomas.
Oh, Clarence Thomas. Okay, so I was right. Oh, yeah. So Garland and Thomas, that's what, you can't have 2 first names as your names. That's dumb. But anyways, like they actually came out with an official like dissent of not hearing the case. They're like, this is crap. We didn't hear the case. I'm pissed. And those are official quoted words, exactly verbatim.
That isn't exactly what I read, but okay.
Well, I'm obviously exaggerating a bit. But anyways, yeah, so that shows that at least some of the judges, they do want to start hearing Second Amendment cases. They really don't hear them that often. And, it's nice to know that some of them actually do want to hear it. And the fact that they wanted to hear it so bad makes me think they were pretty confident that they would have been able to get the majority on that.
I have some more information about that. I understand the confusion about the court clerks because if you decide to appeal to the Supreme Court at this stage, the next step is to prepare a petition for certiorari. This is the document the court will read in order to decide whether to hear a case. In that document, you will include a history of the case, basic facts, and important legal issues that your case presents. Your opponent will also have a chance to file a response, and other interested parties may file briefs in support or against the petition. Your file will then go to a pool of Supreme Court clerks who will review all the documents, summarize them for the justices, and include a recommendation on whether to take the case. The justices then make the final decision. So the justices do finally do it, but they can be influenced by the clerk's recommendation.
Yes.
So that's basically what happens on all that stuff.
Good research, man. Thank you for on the spot clearing that up.
Good stuff.
Because I know that's like when we talked with the guys from Florida Carry, Eric, the lawyer down there, he was talking about taking that case up about, basically the open carry ban on Florida. And he kind of explained how some of that worked also, where he got that first part where you write up the petition and file it. And this was when we talked to him. This was before Peruta got denied, so he was hoping that his would go up, and they would sometimes they combine them if they're kind of similar. And he's like, "Yeah, man, we could get everything in one fell swoop. Be like, you have to issue concealed carry, and you can't ban open carry." Like
he was being hopeful.
Yeah, well, I think you have to be optimistic in order to fight for gun rights. I mean, you got to look at the glass as being half full kind of thing.
At some point, half empty. The ninth has got to come to their fucking attention with how anti-constitutional their decisions are being.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, unfortunately, there's no way to hold a Supreme Court justice accountable for not following the Constitution and not ruling you're right on the Constitution,
but there is a way to hold a circuit judge accountable.
Really? How do we do that?
Yeah, they can slap them down and break them up and stuff, and be like, they can do all sorts of things.
Yeah, I'm still wondering why that hasn't happened in the California circuit.
Well, you just answered your own question.
But that's the president actually can do that.
Because that lumps all of them together. That screws, and I know because it's Hawaii, California, Oregon, Washington. How far east does it go? Does that cover all the other ones, like Colorado and Nevada and all those also, or is it just the border?
Does it also cover Arizona as well?
Well, I don't know. It might. But either way, and I forget the percentage, so I'm throwing some fake news out there, but I know the idea behind it is that something like 80% of the Ninth Circuit
Court, Alaska, Arizona, California, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington.
Yeah, it's way too big.
Yeah, but anyway,
it also has jurisdiction over the Northern Mariana Islands and Guam.
So, like, a vast, vast majority of their decisions that ever were heard by the Supreme Court ruled against them. Like, the super, super majority of, I don't know the percentage. Like I said, I made something up.
The last statistic I heard was 86%.
Okay, so I was close when I said 80-something.
86% of the petitions that were granted certiorari that were heard against the Ninth Circuit Court were reversed.
Which means...
they screwed up.
Yeah, 86% of the time on cases that they took, they were found wrong. So does that mean that 86% of the time they're wrong? Probably not, but I'd still say probably more than half. If the ones that are taken, most of them are overruled, then you got to guess some of the ones that aren't taken, they still are wrong. They're just not heard.
This is depressing. So can we talk about something else? Are we done talking about the Supreme Court? Because I'm just
I'm not quite sure why it's depressing. I'm hopeful of the Maryland thing, and I'm happy with the DC thing, and I've seen nothing but pro-gun news so far this past day.
Yeah, I do want to mention this. This happened. I think it just happened today. Did you hear about what's happening in Texas?
What's happening in Texas?
Well, apparently a lawmaker is proposing constitutional carry for this special session this year. So
that's cool. I know they were talking about they wanted to do that.
Jonathan Strickland proposed HB 296 on Monday to allow adults otherwise lawfully able to possess a firearm under federal and Texas laws to carry a handgun concealed or openly without a permit. So
sounds simple enough.
I mean, he's done it before in the past, but unfortunately, it's been, it's failed the floor. It's failed to make it to the floor. It's been thrown into committees. You know how some of these anti-gunners do that are in positions of power in our government, where or hell, the other side, the Democrats, not specifically anti-gun people, and how they want to throw everything into a committee and discuss it, until either the topic is dead and nobody wants to vote on it, or just let it die. They don't actually want to do their job, which is actually, come up with laws, vote on them, and actually finish the process.
Is that going to be the fate of this bill too? Is that what's going to happen here? Or do you think
I hope not. I hope the factor that the governor, Greg Abbott, I believe he is pro-gun. Is he not?
I would imagine so. I mean, if he's
signed the open carry thing, he signed the other stuff. Yeah. So
I believe the Texas governor is currently is pro-gun, and maybe if the representative Strickland, if he can get the governor to get on board with this, maybe he can get some more traction to actually get this done this year. Because look at it this way. They've had the carry license already, where you can carry with a permit openly, and they haven't had too many problems with that. I mean, we haven't heard much about it, anybody complaining about it, other than people not following the law in the first place, or law enforcement not adhering to the law. That's the only instances we've heard. So no one's made any problems. So why not give them open carry or constitutional carry?
Right, and I remember hearing Ponery talk about this, that it was like a 3-step plan to constitutional carry. Like, they said it in the beginning, that was what they were going to do, and the open carry part was step 2. I forget what the first part was, because, I mean, they already had concealed carry. Did they go shell issue recently or something? They did something first, then they did open carry with a permit, which kind of sucks, and then they were going to go for constitutional. So it sounds like they're working through the plan that they had said, and hopefully it works.
Yeah, I'm going to go and read one of these quotes, because this is actually a pretty good quote. This is from Open Carry Texas President C.J. Grissom. He said, he told the agency that's reporting this, it's time for Republicans to stop being all hat, no cattle. As Governor Abbott once said, the issue of gun control was settled in 1791. Well, now it's time to prove it.
I like that quote. The issue of gun control was settled in 1791.
It was.
That's a good one. Maybe we'll use that on the Daily Gun Show every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. We end each show with a quote.
You're plugging the Daily Gun Show?
I am plugging the Daily Gun Show because it's a very good show. And just so that you don't get all upset, I neglected them as well for the past 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, as long as you neglected them. Because I don't like it when you neglect me and you don't neglect them. We can't play favorites.
I know, the one day, Jesus Christ. But
I'm over it. I'm over it.
Okay, good.
It'd be funny if you tried to plug in your, hit or miss on the hit or miss show.
No, we do it all the time.
I've done it many a times.
But where do we go from here?
Daily Gun Show Showdown tomorrow. Use hashtag Daily Gun Show when you're using Instagram.
I got plenty of picks waiting for you, Smeggy.
I hope my pick of the truck wins. I mean, it's got a Gun Channels decal on it. I think that should count. Dude, maybe I'll do that when I'm up north. I don't want my neighbors to think I'm too crazy, but I should balance guns on the back of the truck and stuff. Take a picture. A nice sunny day, because everyone complains my shit's too dark. That's a good idea. I'm going up north in a little bit here for a family reunion. And we're celebrating
Winterfell, huh?
We're celebrating the 100-year anniversary of that property being in our family. So that's pretty cool. My great-grandpa bought the property in July of 1917.
Awesome.
Yeah. My mom actually made up a little plaque, because there's this thing you can get. It's called the Centennial Farm. If you've had a working farm for 100 years, you can get this official plaque from the state, and it's almost like a historical district kind of thing, It's recognized as a centennial thing. So my dad wanted to do that, but since it's not an active farm and it hasn't been for a long time, that doesn't count. Like, you have to actually be growing stuff the whole time or having cows or whatever. And people haven't lived on it since my grandma moved off it after my grandpa died. My great grandma moved off of it. Anyways, so she copied the same thing, but called it a centennial property or something, and it's really cool. She showed me that the other day. I was like, that's really neat. So we're gonna put that up north somewhere. So it's like a little plaque.
All right, awesome. So
I know you guys don't care, but we're already coming up on the hour, so I'm allowed to start rambling now.
Well, no, well, and
I got some Faygo in me, so I'm going to start rambling even more.
He's got Faygo.
That's why I went to the store. I was thirsty.
All right, so I guess we've pretty much run the hour. I've got nothing left to talk about. I want to thank my panelists for jumping in and taking part of the conversation and helping me out with this. I want to thank you. I want to thank Smeggy for actually attending, after 3 weeks of being busy. Thank you that you can, take time out of your busy schedule to come and join us.
Oh yeah, man. That's, I've been missing it, dude. I appreciate being able to jump in and start talking with you guys again.
Yeah. So, all right.
Holy shit, that is a giant centipede. Get out of here. Get out of here.
When you can talk to it, they're probably large then. So yeah.
All right.
I heard they don't speak English.
All right. On that note, I'm going to end the end hit or miss with something different.
I was going to sing my new song, but now I got to find where.
I'm going to steal one from the Daily Gun Show and end it with a quote. I'm totally stealing from the Daily Gun Show, but my quote is from Charlton Heston, the former NRA president. I'll give you my gun when you pry it from my cold, dead hands. Those are words to live by. So, thank you all for listening. This was Hit or Miss.